Hello fellow trainers, welcome to our overview and guide for Operation Starfall Street. What we're going to do first is tell you the order in which you should tackle these different bosses based on the level of their Pokemon, and then we'll move into a full guide and overview of the storyline. So if you don't want to be spoiled, just stay for the recommended order, leave a like and subscribe, and let's jump on in. Alright, so the order that we recommend doing this in based off of level will be first Giacomo, who is going to use Dark type Pokemon, level 20 to 21. Next up is Mila using Fire-type Pokemon ranging from level 26 to 27. Next is Atticus using Poison-type, level 32 to 33. Next is Ortega using Fairy-type Pokemon, level 50 to 51, a huge jump, so make sure you prepare for that. And lastly will be Eerie using Fighting-type Pokemon, level 55 to 56. If you got what you needed, to leave that like and subscribe, and if you want to see the whole guide, make sure to stay tuned. Starfall Street is one of the three main storylines that's introduced shortly after you make it to your respective academy, and is easily one of the most mysterious. The other storylines are very clear. Path of Legends, you're going to be taking on some Titans to get some herbs, and in Victory Road, you're going to be taking on the gyms to ultimately become champion. Starfall Street is a little bit more mysterious, and it unravels as you go through the storyline. While you're still at the academy, Cassiopeia hacks your phone and asks you if you know about Team Starfall and if you want to help in the operation. Ultimately, you learn that the bosses have to accept any challenge, and if someone defeats them, they have to give up their badge and essentially their hideout. So you're charged with going against 5 different bosses who are all part of Team Starfall. Once you start Operation Starfall Street, you quickly get a new ally in Clive, who looks a lot like the director of the academy, but swears they are not. The first boss I went up against was Giacomo, who is using the Dark type. He has 2 Pokemon. One is a level 21 Pioneer, which is going to be a Dark and Steel type, so if you have a fighting type with you, that'd be really great. And his second Pokemon is going to be like the boss battle, where it's going to be a Rivaroom, but a really big version of it. I think Team Starfall was trying to make, I don't know, battle bots or battle cars. It's a lot like in Pokemon Go when you have those really big boss battles and you have to whittle down HP. You're doing a lot of that in this battle. So again, having a fighting type will be really helpful. And then once you take them out, you get more of the backstory of the Starfall villainous team. You start to piece together that all of the different bosses you're going up against are genuinely good people, and you start to see that Cassiopeia has a very vested interest in all of these leaders as well. And before we talk about the second boss, I want to note that each one of these different interactions or bosses are going to have the same kind of formula, and that you will fight a grunt of some kind that represents the type of Pokemon that boss will be using. And then you have like auto battles where you use the first 3 Pokemon in your party to take out 25 to 30 of the different grunts Pokemon that are in the base. It's not difficult. You have the ability to heal your Pokemon if you need to. You have like 10 minutes to take out 30. It should be no struggle for you at all, but just wanted to note that you'll go through the same pattern for each of the 5 different bosses. The next boss we recommend based off level will be the Fire type user Mila. So for the grunt, you have to have a water type or rock type with you. That'll be really helpful. You'll go through and have your auto battles, and then the Pokemon that Mila use are a level 27 Torkoal and a level 26 Rivaroom, who is also going to be the Fire type. We get more flashbacks about that fateful day about a year and a half ago with Team Starfall, and learn more about their righteous battle against the bullies of the academy. Throughout these storylines, you can see that Clive is really invested as well in Team Starfall, and likely their identity will be revealed soon in the storyline. And we also see that our equipment helper seems suspiciously plugged in, so we'll keep an eye on those as we talk about this storyline. Next, we take on Atticus, who uses the Poison type and has a level 32 Skuntank, a level 32 Muck, a level 33 Rivaroom who is small, and then a boss level 32 Rivaroom. Not too difficult. I had a Bronzong on my team and just used extra Sentry, and I might have Terrestrialized as well, but not too difficult. We see a more human side, I think, with Atticus. One thing I really enjoy about the storyline is all of these different characters were really well thought out and very relatable in a lot of ways. And it elevated the story for me because this was one of the last storylines I did, and didn't really progress the game for me in a lot of ways, but it was an enjoyable story, and you start to see that, especially around Atticus. Ortega was next on our list and was unfortunately my least favorite character in this entire storyline. I just didn't resonate with it. I feel like we've seen a lot of like spoiled kind of characters with absent parents, and that's not to say it's not a sad scenario and that others don't relate to it. I think just for me, I've seen it a lot in Pokemon and like these types of games. But more importantly, let's talk about the Pokemon that this boss has. For this battle, you'll be going up against a level 50 Azumarill, a level 50 Wigglytuff, a level 51 Doshbun, and a level 50 Reveroom, so a huge spike from our previous boss. And if you're not leveled up appropriately, you're gonna have a really bad time. So maybe get some gym badges, maybe defeat some titans, and come back to your 4th battle. In terms of story, you may not have guessed who the big boss is, and that's totally fine. But you should definitely know that Clive is the director of your academy at this point. It's an interesting story. I'm still a little hooked because I want to know who the big boss is. And we'll talk about our last little boss, who's going to be Eerie. Eerie's going to use the fighting type and is one tough customer with Pokemon that's starting at level 55. The first one you're going to see is Toxicroak, again, level 55. You'll see Annihilate, which is a really cool design. One of my favorite designs so far, and I'm so glad I didn't see it before I played the game. Also level 55, it hits really, really hard. I believe it's a ghost fighting type. I didn't check, but I'm just assuming, and it's super cool. You have Passimian, who's going to be level 55 as well, and a pure fighting type. And then we're going to have the Reveroom, which is level 56 for this one. Once you defeat Eerie and have all of the different badges, Clive is now plugged in to know that Team Starfall actually wasn't the villainous group that he thought they were. The group is now essentially disbanded, and all that's left to do is take on the big boss, who asks you to meet them at the academy after dark. However, Clive intervenes and decides to battle you in place of the big boss. He thinks he knows who the student is, and he's bringing a really strong team. The first Pokemon you'll see is a level 60 Oranguru, which is a normal and psychic type. Next we'll see Houndoom, which is a dark fire type, also level 60. He also has a Gyarados, level 60, who is a water flying type. A Poltegeist, level 60, and Abomasnow, also level 60, and a Muscarda in my case because I chose a water starter that is level 61. Once the battle's over, your director will admit that they actually aren't Cassiopeia, and you still have to go up against the big boss, who reveals himself to be none other than Penny, the supply unit student's been helping you out throughout your Starfall line quest. Make sure you have a well-rounded team for this battle with Penny because they're using nothing but evolutions, starting with Umbreon at level 62, Flareon also 62, Jolteon, Leafeon, Vaporeon all level 62, and finally Sylveon, who will turn themselves into an even stronger fairy type at level 63. And once this battle is over, you've reached the conclusion of the Operation Starfall storyline. You do get confirmation from Penny that they're on your side and willing to help out whenever you need it, and you're definitely going to need some allies for a future storyline in this game, which is awesome. And overall, I thought the story was okay. I think it didn't add enough progress to the game for me, but it had a lot of weight to it, a lot of emotion. I think a lot of people are going to resonate with this storyline. And it's really the first time I've ever felt for the villainous team. Team Star had a lot of personality. You could tell there were a lot of different characters within the game that had positive interactions with them. And ultimately, they're trying to do what they thought was best for the school. I wish it would have been tied a little bit more to the overall progress of the story. But in terms of narrative, I thought it was really solid. I did it last, and I would probably recommend you do it last as well. But that doesn't mean it's not a compelling story and someone's favorite. I know a lot of people really enjoyed this storyline. I just really like Path to Legends, and I thought they did a really great job with Victory Road. But just because those two are great doesn't mean that this one isn't good. But that's all for today. If you enjoy Pokemon and other monster naming content, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Alright, bye everyone.